On episode 323 of the podcast, we're talking about prospecting. What to say, how to say it, like what it is, how to get a response from people, how often we should be reaching out. And my guest Mario talks about hyper-personalization, what it is, and how it can be the thing that lands a potential new client for you. What is up, friend? I am Ryan Coral from Studio Sherpas, and this is the Grow Your Video Business podcast. This is a show for corporate and commercial filmmakers where we talk about the business of production, and I am in the trenches with you. I'm not just this amazing podcast host who has amazing guests, but I have been running my own video production business for 18 years, and I've got multiple employees. We have a studio, a cool psych wall. I've built a 7-figure video studio, and I want to share with you the things that have worked for me and what hasn't worked, because there is plenty of that stuff, so that you can build the video business of your dreams. Today's topic is all about sales. I love talking about sales. I love talking about marketing. My guest is an expert, and you're going to want to take notes. So hopefully you're in a space where you can do that. But before we jump into the interview, let's talk about your website real quick. How is your website working out for you? Is it helping your business? Is it potentially hurting your business? What makes a good website or a bad website? Well, if you want to attract more high quality leads and fill your funnel, then I want to share a brand new resource that I have made just for you, and it's called the Lead Machine. It is a website checklist for filmmakers where you'll be able to identify areas that might need improvement on your website, where you can make simple tweaks to optimize for lead generation and start attracting your ideal clients. And here's the thing, your website, it should work for you, not against you. It shouldn't just be this modern business card with the same stuff that everyone else has. And there are some common mistakes that people make on their website that could be costing them business, lots and lots of money. So to make sure that you're not making any of these common mistakes, or really easy to fix mistakes, download the Lead Machine today and start generating more of the right kind of leads for your corporate filmmaking business. You can get it at studiosherpas.com/lead machine. This checklist, it's totally free. It is my gift to you for being a listener of this show. You can download it again at studiosherpas.com/lead machine. With that, let's jump into this episode. What's up, friends? Hey, welcome to this episode. Today, I have with me Mario Martinez Jr. He is the CEO and founder of Vengresso. Actually, I should have asked you how to pronounce that. How do you pronounce that?
Vengresso.
Oh, nailed it.
You nailed it.
Oh, wow. So Mario has spent 105 consecutive quarters in B2B sales, marketing, and executive leadership. In 2021, he earned the #1 spot in the top 10 most influential business leaders by Beyond Magazine, and was selected as one of the 20 sales influencers invited to appear in the Salesforce.com documentary film, The Story of Sales. Mario is also the host of the popular The Modern Selling podcast. Fellow podcaster Mario, welcome to the show, my friend.
Ryan, I'm stoked to be here with you. Thank you so much, man, for having me.
So good. I love talking about sales because I think the funniest part about my story is before I started my own business, I just graduating college, trying to think of like, what the heck do I want to do with my life? And somebody's like, oh, what about sales? And I'm like, that is the last thing in the world that I would ever want to consider. Like, gross, get it out of here. And then here I am today, fully converted. Like, man, I feel sorry for people that don't pay us to do video with them. So, it's just this it's what I do, and I can't help do it because I'm so passionate about it. How did you land in this industry? And then what's you've obviously have a lot of success and have been recognized for that. So how did you go from just being a guy that, was like, yeah, I'll sell some stuff, to being a leader in this whole industry?
Yeah, well, thanks for mentioning that about going from being a business owner and not thinking you were in sales. In fact, I just published a post on LinkedIn yesterday, and here was the quote: "The greatest salespeople in the world are called business owners or entrepreneurs. They work off of 100% commission to feed themselves and the company." So huge compliment to yourself and for all of those out there that have really built up a business.
Yeah.
Most business owners actually don't think of themselves as a salesperson, but truly you are the quintessential salesperson, because that's what we do. We work off 100% commissions all day long. In answer to your question, how I got started, actually, it's a funny story. I got started in sales not because I wanted to, but because I was told to. So I actually was going to UC Berkeley, Cal, and I was working for those of us that are old enough will remember that we used to process our 35 millimeter film at a camera shop, and they would print out 4x6 photos.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I worked at a Ritz Camera Centers.
Nice.
And I was a photo finisher. That's what I was, a photo finisher. And I would be the guy that would, take the film and go negative strip by strip in the machine, and adjust the colors, magenta, cyan,
we had the same
blue.
job, man.
Oh man. Okay. So this was a lot of fun. So interestingly enough, when I decided to go to University of California, Berkeley, I needed to transfer to pay my way through college. In fact, I had to pay my whole way through college. And so I asked to be transferred from the Concord Ritz Camera to the Berkeley Ritz Camera, which was right at the mouth of the university. And Hunter Anderson, I remember his name, he came in, he was our regional director. And he said, "Hey, I got the paperwork to transfer you. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to approve this transfer." And I was just devastated. My heart just sank to the bottom of my stomach. And I was like, "What do you mean you're not going to approve this? I need this job to pay for my, through schooling." And he says, no, I need to show you something. And I thought, oh no. So he opened the books up and he goes, "I need to understand what's going on here." And I was like, okay, about what? So what he showed me is that I had actually been leading sales for the entire region for about a year as a part-time photo finisher in comparison to all of the other district who had dedicated salespeople. I was in the top 3 month over month over month. And so I looked at that and he goes, "I need to know, what are you doing? What's going on here?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? What am I doing? I'm just doing what I'm doing." And he's like, by the way, mind you, I'm 18 years old, right? So he was like, "No, I need to understand, what are you doing?" And I said, "I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just helping customers. Like, they're asking for questions and I answer the questions and away we go." He goes, "Walk me through exactly what you do from the time that a customer walks in the door to the time that they leave the door." I was like, okay. So what I used to do is when I printed the 4x6 pictures, I used to take all of the bad, ugly pictures that were blurry and they didn't work well, and I'd put them right at the top. Now, I only did that because I wanted them to be able to see those individual pictures that they didn't work really well, and hopefully they would buy some additional film because I'd get like a 25-cent spiff for film, right? So I'd pull these pictures out, and they immediately, the mom or the dad, be like, "Oh no, Johnny, you couldn't see him running soccer or hitting the baseball, no." And I would say, "Oh well, are you planning on doing any more of these types of pictures?" And they would say, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, what kind of camera do you have?" And then they would tell me, and I was like, "Well, the problem is, it's not the film, it's the camera." And they say, "Really? Well, what kind of camera would you get?" And I was like, "Well, I just work in the photo finishing department, so I just print the pictures. But if I were to do this and I were to do high motion pictures, as an example, or nighttime shots or whatever it might be, I'd get this camera, and this camera will solve da 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 da." And they would say, "Oh, okay. How much is it?" And I would tell them, "Oh my gosh, Like, okay, so, if you want these types of pictures, you got to factor in the cost of, printing bad pictures and not having the memory or having the memory. So inevitably, what would happen, Ryan, is customers would say, okay, I'll take it. And then I say, okay, great. Well, listen, I'm not a sales guy, but I will tell you that this is the best warranty they have. If you drop it and break it in pieces, you can come in and bring it in pieces. And I would recommend this since you're going to be out at the baseball fields or out at the And they say, okay, add that on. What kind of film do I need? Okay, well, now you need the 800, whatever it's called, with 400 something rather, 800 something rather film. And so then I would just start layering on. Next thing you know it, I had a, $1,200 or $2,000 sale. And it was religious. Boom, 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 boom. And so I told him everything I did. So he says, so do you realize what you were doing? And I said, no. And he goes, you don't get it. And I said, get what? And he goes, so basically what you're telling me is all you were doing was helping a customer.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I guess so. So funny as it may be, fast forward now to 22 years later, and my famous line inside the Salesforce.com documentary on the story of sales, my famous line that Mark Benioff showed at Dreamforce was, sales is the art of helping. And that was a full circle back to Hunter Anderson, who said, I won't transfer you as a photo finisher, but I will transfer you as a salesperson. And that's how my sales career started in retail, of which then moved into software, and the rest is history.
Dude, that's an awesome story. What year were you a photo finisher?
1993 to 1995.
Dude, we were photo finishing. I was in Detroit area, but yeah, and I was working at like an Ace Hardware, like a 1 hour photo at Ace. That's so funny. As you were sharing that story, I just wrote these words. I was like, beautiful thing dash you were helping, period. Like that's what you were doing. That's all you were doing, which is it's so freeing. I feel like I like when I started to realize and understand, 6 months into running a video business, I shot a wedding. I had a friend that was like, hey, like, I'm photographing this wedding. Could you film it? Like, they don't have a video person. I'm like, sure, I'll learn how to do that. I did it and I loved it. And I felt like my wife and I were newly married, and I was just like, man, I feel like I can create a time capsule for these families, like a piece. And my dad had passed away, before that. And I was like, man, if I just had, some video of him or some video of him talking at my wedding, like how valuable would that be? So in my mind, all I was trying to do is to help people capture something that I didn't have, something that I know that in the future they would look back on and be like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that we did this. So it's the same thing. So it never felt like I was selling anything.
Exactly right. So that's essentially the premise of how I learned to sell was help. Sales is the art of helping. So if you focus in on helping first, then the rest makes it happen. And I think I've employed that strategy, and I've been in B2B corporate. I've managed up to $300 million a year in terms of corporate sales revenues. I've sold to the largest of large corporations, McKesson Corporation as an example, a Fortune 4 company, and sold, $120 million contracts down to my own individual business, which is, $25,000 or $10,000 contracts, right? So in that scale, if we're focused on how do I help this individual to solve whatever problem it is that my service or product solves, then you won't go wrong. And essentially those that have a big enough pain associated with how you help, you'll start making deals happen.
Yeah, super good. So I think part of the struggle, and I would just like to press into this a little bit, it's easy to think about you standing behind the photo counter helping these people. Like this is what you need. You need this lens. You need this film. You need this camera. Obviously, very, very helpful. Me thinking about my story and like, man, I want people to have something I didn't have, or in captured in a beautiful way. And so yeah, that seems very, very helpful. It's like business to consumer. I'm trying to help this person, but then I transition my business, almost a decade into it, and we start doing all these films for businesses. And I feel like there are a lot of people that are afraid of getting into the, the corporate, the commercial world, where they're, really just trying to like make somebody that's rich even richer. And that can just kind of feel empty and like sort of lifeless. How, in your mind, how can someone who is a corporate filmmaker, how do they help someone? Like, what are some ways? Help us really put some flesh around this so it doesn't feel icky.
Depending on what the individual is doing, your listeners, right? As an example, maybe they're doing video design, or maybe they're capturing the video and then doing editing of these videos, or maybe they're doing outsourced video development work, and they're coming up with a storyboard as an example for some of these video concepts. So any one of those elements, maybe all of them, doesn't really matter. Whether you're selling that or whether you're selling corporate software and multi-million-dollar deals, you're always coming back to one thing. What is the business pain or problem that I'm trying to solve? Now, some of this could be a tangible component. For example, I need to reduce costs by whatever it might be, $1 million. Another one might be, I need to capture a moment. I need to capture the essence. I need to capture a feeling. And that feeling then needs to transcend to whatever it might be. And so I think what a lot of folks miss, especially when thinking about prospecting, when they're thinking about the buyer and how the buyer thinks, is what problem does your service or portfolio of products solve for that particular buyer? And if you can articulate that in one sentence or two maximum, then you're going to be so much more successful in being able to drive actual results. For example, if you were to go back to our former Vengresso days when we were a digital sales prospecting training company. Now we still have that training and education as a software company that's now part of the content that sits on the software. But if you were to go back to that, I would tell sales leaders, we help sales leaders and teams solve two specific problems. Number one, we help you get more conversations. And number two, we help you grow your sales pipeline. Now, if you do not need help with more sales conversations, you've got enough conversations happening down at the field level, we were not of value to you. If you had no need to help grow your revenue or quota or hit your quota, you'd have no value. We would give you no value. So what we were looking for was sales leaders that had one of those or both those two specific problems. And if they did, then subsequently we would engage and go down the path of how we can further help. And the same applies to someone that has a video business. Maybe you're doing design work. And maybe the challenge that the business owner or the agency is trying to solve for is they haven't captured the moment. What is the moment that they're looking for that will capitalize, bring in the essence of feeling, emotion that maps to their product or their service? Or maybe what they're trying to do is lure people in through ads. How can you do that and be different? And that's what we need to start thinking about, is how do I help them solve the specific problem? Nobody creates videos just for the sake of a video. Right? They're doing it for a reason. So rewind. What is the reason you want this video? Oh, I want this so I can use this in my social media. Great. What do you want social media to do for you? Well, I want it to be able to bring more brand awareness. Great. If that brand awareness was there, what actually will you do with that brand awareness? What do you expect to have happen? Well, hopefully people go to my website. Great. And when they're on your website, what do you want them to do? Just be there? No, I want them to be served up remarketing and targeting campaigns. Well, let's rewind a little deeper, right? That's a lot of money to be able to just throw at it, right? So we have to be a doctor. We have to be prescriptive when we're asking questions to our buyer about, well, let's peel that onion back, peel the orange back, whatever you want to call it, peel it back deeper, to go deeper into this to figure out what you're trying to solve for. Now, many people would say, well, how do I even get that first conversation? Yeah. And that is a different discussion that we can certainly go down that path. But getting that first conversation essentially means that you are creating messaging that maps to the target buyer and to the problem that you can solve. For example, if your video business that you have is all that in a bag of tricks and you are capturing moments and essence, then what you need to be thinking about is, how do I actually take, let's pretend, Ryan, you're my customer. I just did a amazing video montage for you and it produced What's the number? Now what I'm looking at is how do I take this successful video montage or program or whatever I built, and how do I advertise that in such a way that Ryan now is actually speaking on my behalf, saying when I worked with Mario as our video creative agency, our creative design agency, we went from X number of dollars to Y number of dollars, or we increase sales or revenue by whatever the percentage might be. Capture that. That's what we're looking for. And then you lead with those types of problems. For example, maybe Ryan, you might reach out to me as a video designer with our creative agency, and you might reach out to me and say, Mario, I noticed that your YouTube channel has a nearly 6,000 subscribers. I took a look at your competitors, and all of them, in culmination of all them combined, have less than 1,000 subscribers. You must be doing something right. But you know what I realized? That there are some major inconsistencies in how you're going about producing video, that if you did this, it might actually grow your followers and it might actually increase your revenue. Are either of those two things of interest to you? Growing your followers or growing your revenue? And if I say yes to both of those two problems, you know you've got me on the hook. If I say no to either one of those two problems, that I don't care about growing my followers and I don't care about growing my revenue, then you don't want to talk to me anyways. So that's where we need to start thinking about as a small business owner, is thinking about sales is the art of helping, and what problem do I solve? And then how do I ask the question that lures that particular business owner in to the problem or problems that I might solve. Does that make sense, Ryan?
Dude, it's so good. Taking notes. You're talking about the transformation. Like, let's start with the end in mind when you're having those conversations with prospects. Like, what do you want this video to do? Dude, I love that you kept pressing in. Okay, yeah, so they come to your website. So that what? And that's the phrase that I kind of always say. It's like, so that. Add that to the end of the sentence. You want people to come to your website so that they download your free thing, or so that they call you, so that they set up a call. Like, what is the thing? Like, keep uncovering that. Dude, that's like gold. Definitely worth the cost of this podcast. Wait a second. Thank you for going down there. I do want to talk just a little bit about the difference, because when this was revealed to me, and maybe I'm just like so dense, my friend Jim is the one who shared this, I think, initially with me. There's a difference between, like, you get me on a call, like, say you call me, you're like, I need a video, here's what I think I need, blah, blah, blah. Dude, I shine. Like, on a discovery call, I can take you through our process. I can ask you the right questions, and then get to the end of the call, and both of us will know, like, should we move forward or not? It's all of the other parts before that like, I just want to pull my hair out, right? And so I guess there's different wording. Like, one thing might be called prospecting, and then, the other one would be called discovery calling. I'm not sure what it's called, like maybe actual selling. Can you kind of talk through, because I think those are distinctly different, and just for all of us listening, wondering like, oh, I didn't know there was a difference, and maybe I'm really good at one, and maybe I'm not as good at another, so maybe there's work I need to do on one or the other.
Yeah, good question. So I'm going to break up the sales process into really two sides. You've got, if you have a lot, if this is the whole spectrum right here, left to right in the middle is what we call the call. So you've got side one is the pre-hello to the hello. Mm-hmm. And then you've got from hello to the close. Now, most of us like to spend our time here on the hello to close.
Absolutely.
And we're hoping that the prospect gods just start dropping customers or prospects into our funnel. And all of a sudden that we can just start having, hello, hi, Ryan, let's have a conversation. How can I help?
Absolutely.
Right? That's where most of us want to start at, because most of us are afraid to be on this side of the house, which is the pre-hello to the hello. This is definitely the prospecting side. This is the toughest part about selling. Yeah. This is where you're looking at hyper targeting, making sure that your blows count, and you're looking at how do I scale and grow this at a pace fast enough that will produce enough hellos. Yeah. And then the challenge that you also run as a business owner is we have what's called the consultant's curse in a service model. When I'm not selling, I'm delivering. When I'm not delivering, I'm selling. And so then what ends up happening is the consultant's curse. This is the up, down, up, down, up, down on our revenues. And we're like, I made $30,000 this month, but next month I'm starving, right?
Feast or famine, baby. Nothing. Yep.
Exactly. So we want to get to with the steady Eddie component where we actually can have, the good solid, a lifestyle business or above, where it's comfortable. So focusing on the prospecting piece, most people really struggle right here. What do I say? How do I say it? Who do I reach out to? When should I target? How many times should I touch? Should I call first? Should I email second? Should I email first, then call? Should I text? Is it appropriate to text? Is it okay to send a video before I've even met somebody? No, that seems intrusive. I mean, do I sound like all the questions that people ask?
For sure, 100%, yes.
I could probably do one of those SNL skits on this one as well. That probably wouldn't be a bad idea. That'd be a great video.
Totally,
that we could do together.
Yep.
So let's go back to a methodology. So first off, we have a technology called FlyMessage. FlyMessage is a text expansion and personal writing assistant. You can take all your messages, templates, store them in the cloud, and with a few short keystrokes, you can build out these messages anywhere online. LinkedIn, Facebook, email, CRM, anything with HTTP or HTTPS. Okay. What we also did is we have for especially business owners, we have our sales prospecting education. It's called the Sales Pro Plan. It's $248 a year. It's the greatest investment I think you'll ever make, and certainly something that I would do personally. And what it's teaching you is essentially how to go about prospecting using digital mediums. Video. Now, I know most of your listeners are video creators, but do they really know how to use video in prospecting? For example, 9 out of 10 videos that are prospecting videos that come to a buyer have this giant play button sitting right in front of someone's face. Because the play button for all video applications, whether it's BombBomb, OneMob, Hippo, Loom, it sits right in the center. Right. And so when you send a prospecting video, guess what's covered up? The most important thing, which is that builds trust, is a smile, right? So most people are so unclear and uncertain how to be able to leverage this. So what we teach is in our Sales Pro program is a methodology called the PVC. Yes, like pipe. PVC. PVC sales methodology. Personalization, bring value, have a call to action. 111 words and less. That's your target. If you're thinking about how long should my messages be when I'm making outreach to a new business owner, 111 words and less. Why? Because that's the amount of time that most adults will give to the average digital task, opening up an email and reading it, looking on the mobile device. It's also a one-touch scroll or less on a mobile device, which is really critical. So 111 words. There's some data that's out there that suggests around 75 words or less, but that is not super pervasive. I would definitely stick to 111 words or less, but there should be 3 parts to every prospecting message, whether you're using an in-mail or whether you're using an email or whether you're creating a video or whether you're sending a text message or whether you're leaving a voicemail. The PVC methodology applies to all of them. First, hyper-personalization. I gave you the example. If any agency were to come to Vengreso, they better have first looked at our website and see how much we're using video. They better have second gone to our YouTube channel and see how we are using video within social media, specifically YouTube. Am I producing long form, short form, or no form? Yeah. And you better know this information, because if you came to me and said, oh, I want to do some great videos for you, then I would say, bonehead, I already am doing it. What do you need me for? What do I need you for? Aha. But if you said to me, I reviewed your YouTube channel, I did an analysis. In the last 30 days or 60 days, you've produced however many videos. And what I noticed is the videos that are on your website are actually a little old and stale. That these videos have been from, or whatever you want to say about them, or it could be that much better if you did. Now you've got my attention. So what we want to think about is hyper-personalization. It could be the example I just gave you, or it could be I saw you speak, or it could be I noticed that you posted this, or I noticed that you mentioned this. It could be that I know your brother's mother's twice removed uncle, right? It could be any of those elements. What we're looking for is hyper-personalization. Additionally, what I love about LinkedIn is that I get to see whether or not you speak, an example, foreign language. You know what I love to do if I can't find anything? If you say you speak just put it, for example, Ryan, do you speak a foreign language, Ryan?
I speak Pig Latin.
Pig Latin. All right. Let's just say you speak Portuguese pretend for the sake of Portuguese. If I see that on your LinkedIn profile and I can't find anything that would hyper-personalize this message, my subject line is going to be in Portuguese. All I have to do is go to Google Translator, Google Translate, free of charge, convert my whatever 3 or 4 word subject line into Portuguese, and that pops up. And the opening line says, hopefully I didn't clobber the Portuguese, and it means this. Now, what you know instantly, and sorry, my voice is hoarse, by the way, I coach my son's basketball team, and Saturday, I was screaming and yelling like a crazy man as the coach, and I still haven't recovered from that, so my voice is a little strained, but you see that I put inside there something related to Portuguese, immediately you know that I know you. And there's something that I want everybody listening to, which is uber important. Show me that you know me. That's personalization.
That's good.
Now, this is hard to do at scale. Yeah, it's hard to do, which is why prospecting is not easy. Right. Which is why we go through BDRs and SDRs in the agency world or in the B2B world, like we change underwear, right? Like every day they're coming in and coming out, right? So the average length of a BDR is about 12 months in that particular role. But prospecting is not for the faint of heart, but you do have to take the time to personalize. Now, if you don't have anything to personalize, no foreign language, no nothing they posted, nothing you can see, nothing from the industry that you can grab hold of, no events, nothing. You don't have anything. Well, now we're going to personalize to the buyer persona. And I might open up like this. Majority of small business owners that I speak to are trying to fix 2 major problems. One, how do I capture more attention and mind share to be able to have more conversations, right? Number 2 might be, how do I increase the awareness around my brand that's ultimately going to impact the bottom line? So I might make it somewhat generic, but as a business owner, if you send that to me, I would say, well, those are 2 things that I'm trying to solve for. Absolutely. And what do I do next? I keep reading. And that brings us to now the V of the 3-part series for the value. How do you bring value? P, personalization, V for value. So after I say, hey, most business owners I speak to are trying to solve these 2 common problems, Ryan. Are these challenges that you're dealing with? If so, directly below, I've attached a video. I've attached a white paper, an ebook, a blog, or whatever it might be on 10 ways to whatever it might be. Or I've attached a video that if you spend the 37 seconds to watch this video, it will change your business trajectory. Okay. Am I willing to spend 37 seconds? Now, most people are willing to spend 1 minute. Drop off for a video for 1 minute or less is less than 20%. Less than 20%. That's what we know. That's all video marketers that are listening to you. Less than 20%, 1 minute or less. Now, 30 seconds and less, of course, are better. But 1 minute or less, you're going to get about 80% retention. Now, once you go into that 1 to 2 minute category, you're now into the 60% retention in terms of people watching that video. So make your blows count. And by the way, if you are a video designer or you have a video business, you better be prospecting to me and sending me a video message. That's what all I got to say.
Yeah.
And so what we want to do is be able to give them something that's going to bring value, whatever that might be. Implement these 3 things. Yeah. Watch this video of what I did as an overview of your guys' website, whatever it might be. Now, once I brought value, I move into the final piece, which is the call to action. Remember, 111 words and less. This is what we're doing. And that call to action, it might be, I'd like to book a meeting with you. That could be one option. Most of us would like to go straight for the jugular and would like to have the meeting. However, remember, we didn't actually get married after the first date of being with our significant other. So you might have to actually date a little while. Yeah. And so what that means is your call to action might be, Ryan, are either the 2 problems that I mentioned above something that you're challenged with? Because what am I trying to do? I'm trying to solicit a response. If I can solicit that response, then I create engagement. Now I can create a conversation. And now the next conversation or the next email or message or in-mail, I can now move to a actual, let's book a meeting. Mm-hmm. So the CTA doesn't have to be a meeting, but it can be a meeting, but it also can be something else. Like you ask a question, are you going to this event? Will I see you there at this event? I heard that you're speaking. Is that accurate? Do you have these two problems that I just identified? And you're trying to create engagement with that particular buyer. So 3 parts. P for personalization, V for bringing value, and C for call to action. 111 words or less. And many ask, Ryan, well, wait a minute. What about my subject line? What's the proper length of a subject line? Okay, good question. Anything more than 6 words, bad things really start to happen. It's a negative return. So here's the number. You ready for it, Ryan?
Ready.
The magic number is 1 to 3 words. 2 to 3 words, you're golden. You the highest returns and highest open rates and highest engagement rates. 1 to 3 words, those are the best. 4 to 6, not bad, but not the best. So stick to 1 to 3 words. That's really the message there. And finally, what I'll mention is everything I just mentioned in terms of creating a video and learning how to use that as a video prospecting, the PVC methodology, how to use LinkedIn for prospecting. That's all in our hours upon hours of sales education content, all contained in a Fly message. And you actually not only can learn how to create the message that slices through the noise, but you'll have a tool that'll be able to build out all these messages and increase your productivity anywhere online.
Dude, wow, there's so much value in all of that. I'm curious to know, out of all of for the V, the value. Speaking of value, is there one where you're just like, oh, this one, 9 times out of 10 is like definitely better? Is it creating some kind of personalized message? Is it offering a free PDF? Is it offering a mini course, a podcast episode? Any of them? Are they all kind of equal? Depends on what the value is.
So I would say the value piece is usually leading with something leading to your solution. So a blog, a white paper, an ebook, a webinar, any of those assets that someone can actually consume on their own. Remember, we're a digitally native society. We want to consume and pull in information without you being involved in the sales process.
Yeah.
And finally, remember, you don't hold the purse, the keys to the kingdom anymore, or you don't hold the purse strings. And none of that's the old days. 20 years ago, people had to come to you to get what they wanted. Now I can Google anything. I was at Home Depot and I went to the lady and I said, "Hey, do you know if these gas tanks can be refillable?" And they were the small little camping ones, the green ones that you have. And she said, "Oh, I don't know." And I was like, "Can you ask somebody?" She said, "Well, I don't think anybody would know." And I was like, "Can you try?" And she was like, "Why don't you just Google it? Google knows everything." So now my kids always say to me, "Daddy, Google knows everything." So that's what she said. And so anyway, so just Google. That's what people can do, is they can just Google something. So I would say that you do that. Also, too, if you're not a writer, many business owners don't have a blog. Many of them don't have all this great content, white papers, ebooks, and because they're not that large, right?
Yeah.
So here's what I did when I first started out. And this is how I actually landed on the sales influencers list in my first year out of the gate, right? Massive following, 250,000 followers across all my channels. And so what I did is I sat down on a weekly basis and I thought of every possible question that I would ask as a business owner or as a salesperson. And then I thought about the question and I would write a couple of bullet points and I would create a small video. So if you actually go to our YouTube channel and you go to my earliest videos, all it is me on an iPhone recording myself or on a Zoom camera, recording myself and in 2 minutes or less answering a question. And I would start out with one of the number one questions that I get from sales reps today is fill in the blank. Here are 3 things that you can do right now that will solve this problem.
Yeah.
That's what I did. And that's exactly what the video agencies and or designers or creative can do. They can write down what are people asking for and or what do they want, create a video about it, and use that in their prospecting.
Dude, that's gold. We took that advice someone else had given me and turned that into a product that we call today 21 in 1. And it's a way to get your 10 most frequently asked questions. You come to our studio, stand in front of a camera for an hour. You get this like beautifully produced 10 horizontal videos, 10 vertical versions of it, and then one long one equals 21 videos. We deliver it super quick, and it is a super helpful tool for prospecting. Now I'm even thinking like, wow, I didn't think to send those to people on your initial, it's like, hey, and pick out of those 10, like what is the most frequently asked one? Like, shoot, that's stinking helpful for people. I love that, dude. Wow.
Absolutely.
Really
Absolutely.
Good.
Hey, if one customer is asking for it and a second one is, or a third one is, guess what? There's a lot of people asking for that same question.
Mario, dude, this has been just very energizing, super exciting. I appreciate all of the insights. I can tell there's just like so much more we can talk about. How can people follow? Like, where can they follow you online and tell us a little bit more about the software, if you would?
Yeah, well, first off, I'm on LinkedIn, Mario Martinez Jr. If you pop that inside there, you'll be able to find me pretty easily. I'm with Vengresso. Vengresso is the creator of Fly Message, MSG, Fly MSG. And Fly Message is essentially a tool, as I mentioned earlier, that will help you to scale your engagement with customers. Take the templates. The template I just mentioned to you, Ryan, that template is actually part of our library called Fly Plates. So if you didn't capture all that and you're like, oh my God, I can't write fast enough because this guy talks way too fast. I know, I'm sorry. All you have to do is go download Fly Message. It's a free version up there, and you can go to our Fly Plates and you can pull that template inside there. And then if you are interested, what I would say is if you're actually interested and you want to utilize Fly Message, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do for all your listeners, Ryan, is can I give them a special offer, Ryan?
Yes, you can.
All right. So for everybody that's part of Ryan's show, I'm going to give a 50% off for life. What? And so what you can either buy it monthly and get 50% off, or you can buy the annual fee and get 50% off. All you have to type in the coupon is 50 and the word percent, all caps, off, all caps, the number 4, LIFE, all caps, 50%, all one word, OFF, 4, the number 4, LIFE, and that will give you a 50% off discount for the monthly or for the annual. Of course, the annual, you get an extra 17% discount. So our growth plan, the unlimited, is $99 a year. It's $45. I guarantee you're wasting that much money on lunch at least once a week. And so you can use that, or our Sales Pro plan, which has all the education and training content. It's $248 a year, and it's about $125, I guess that would make it on an annual basis. I guarantee you're wasting that much money on dinner one time a week as well. So just get it, use it, and there's a ton of great, valuable content inside there.
Dude, thank you. That's super generous. I really appreciate that. I'm so glad that we met and had this awesome conversation. I appreciate your perspective. I'm super, just congrats on all of your success. Really, really awesome stuff. Any parting words for us today, Mario?
What I would say is the life of a business owner is tough. And remember, you're wearing all kinds of hats. Today you're selling, tomorrow you're delivering, tomorrow you're managing customer service, or the next day after that. My best advice to a business owner is this is the life we choose, and make the best of it, because it's a great life if you can focus in on the most important things that you need to get done today.
Yeah, so good. All right, brother. Thank you again. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, bro, for having me.
Yeah, you bet. All right, friend, I hope you were as inspired as I was. So much cool stuff about prospecting and understanding it better so that you can do it better, or you can have somebody else do it better for you. If you want access to the show notes, you can get those at studiosherpas.com/323. If you're watching this, leave me a comment. Let me know what your big takeaway was. I would love to hear from you. And if you're not watching it, but just listening to it, feel free to just shoot me a message at ryan@studiosherpas.com. And again, don't forget to download the website checklist, the lead machine, at studiosherpas.com/lead machine. Again, my gift to you for being a listener of the show. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you. I appreciate you, and hoping for amazing, amazing stories to come from your life through your business. Keep me abreast of those things, and I will talk to you really soon. See you next time.